Let's begin with the truth that most people never face. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. That's why so many people drift through life, lost, confused, overwhelmed, working hard but going nowhere. They wake up each day, busy but not effective, distracted but not driven. Why? Because they lack definiteness of purpose. Definiteness of purpose is not a goal, it is not a wish, it is not a hope. It is a burning decision, a mental contract with your future self. It is the center point of your energy, the reason you rise every day, the filter for your actions, and the anchor when storms hit. Napoleon Hill said it best. There is one quality one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants, and a burning desire to possess it. Understand this. Without purpose, you become a slave to circumstance. You react instead of act. You wander instead of conquer. You float through opportunities instead of building empires. But when your purpose is clear, something shifts inside you. You stop entertaining distractions. You start making sharper decisions. You develop a laser focus that cuts through fear and failure. And life begins to organize itself around your clarity. People around you will notice. You walk different. You talk different. You're not desperate anymore. You're directed. You're not seeking approval. You're following a mission. You see, the most powerful force on earth is a mind that knows exactly what it wants. Not I hope someday, not maybe when things get better, but I will, no matter what. That kind of purpose transforms you. It rewires your nervous system. You no longer depend on external motivation. You become your own fuel. Look at every successful person, in business, in art, in leadership. They didn't get lucky. They got clear. They knew where they were going before the world believed in them. And when life tried to stop them, they didn't quit, because purpose doesn't quit. So how do you develop definiteness of purpose? Ask yourself, what do I want more than anything else? Refuse to lie to yourself. Get honest. Write it down. Memorize it. Speak it out loud. And then align every action, habit, and decision with that purpose. Let your purpose lead. Let it drive you through every season. Because when you know what you want, truly, deeply, unshakably, the universe moves out of your way. Definiteness of purpose is not just the first step to success, it's the foundation. Without it, you are a boat with no compass. With it, you are a storm with direction. Let's break this down. Slowly, powerfully. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This is not poetry. This is not hype. This is a law. The mind, your mind, is a factory of creation. Every invention, every building, every breakthrough in human history started in someone's mind before it appeared in reality. You are holding a power greater than electricity, greater than fire, greater than any physical weapon, the creative force of thought. But here's the catch. It only works when you use both parts. Conceive. You must visualize the idea, see it in detail, feel it as if it already exists. Conception is creation in the unseen. This is where most people stop. They imagine for a few minutes, then return to doubt. They say, wouldn't it be great, and then scroll their lives away. They treat vision like a toy, not a tool. But the real builders, the ones who use thought as a weapon, they don't just conceive once. They live in the vision. They replay it every day, sharpening it until it burns into their identity. Because the clearer you see it up here, mind, the faster it becomes real out there, world. Believe. Here lies the difference between a dreamer and a creator. Anyone can conceive, but few truly believe. And belief isn't soft. It's not just saying, I think I can. You want to know what sets the ordinary apart from the extraordinary? It's desire, ignited by unshakable faith. Think about it. Every triumph in history didn't begin with ease. It began with a desire so fierce, so vivid, it lit a spark, then fueled it with faith until it became a wildfire. Desire is not a wish. It's not daydreaming. It's an obsession so deep it burns your comfort zones to ashes. It keeps you awake at night. It haunts your waking hours. It's the whisper in the chaos that says, "You can, you will." But desire alone is insufficient. Without faith, desire is a spark that fizzles in the darkness of doubt. Faith is the belief that the spark becomes a blaze. It's the conviction that no matter how many times you're knocked down, you'll rise again, because you know something inside you won't allow defeat. Let me explain the power of marrying desire and faith. Desire says, "I want that life, the impact, the legacy, the abundance." Faith responds, "Then I will create it, because I believe it's mine by right." You want success? Don't just want it. Obsess over it. Visualize it. Feel it as though you already own it. And then back that desire with faith, conviction that compels you to act regardless of fear, resistance, or setback. Because here's the truth. Success is not granted. It's wrestled from possibility by those who combine burning desire with unwavering belief. Successful people don't ask, "What if it fails?" They ask, "What will I learn from failing? And how will I come back stronger?" Because faith is not passive, it's not blind, it's cultivated. It's sharpened daily through small wins, repeated action, and constant affirmation. You speak it. "I have faith in my purpose." You reinforce it. "I am equipped. I am advancing." You live it. Even when it's hard, you say, "I believe," and that belief fuels my will to rise again. That's why the difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't resources. It's resilient faith. You think money stops you? That's desire without faith. You think time kills your dream? That's desire without faith. You think lack of support destroys your momentum? That's desire without faith. It was faith that moved Thomas Edison's focus beyond 10,000 failed experiments and toward the light bulb that changed the world. It was faith that kept J.K. Rowling writing after rejections piled up. It's faith that still propels you, long after the hype wears off, long after the doubters disappear, long after the motivation fades. When desire and faith unify, you become unstoppable. Not because you're flawless, but because you refuse to stop. So ignite that desire, fuel it with faith, let them converge and burn away every reason to quit. Because this kind of fire, it doesn't need wind, it becomes its own storm. Let's cut to the heart of the matter. Persistence is the unstoppable force that breaks through even the toughest resistance. Desire backed by faith might light the fire, but persistence keeps it burning until your vision becomes reality. Resistance shows up in every elevation. The alarm clock doesn't budge. The bill comes due. You're met with rejection, setback, or fatigue. Your mind whispers, "This is too hard." That's the moment most people stop, but not you. Because you know, persistence is a decision. It's the discipline to rise when you're tired, to fight when you're fearful, to build when you're broken. Think of the greatest breakthroughs of our time. They weren't created by convenience. They were created by relentless minds who refused to quit because they refused to betray the promise in their vision. Persistence is saying, "I may be down, but I am not done. This question may stump me, but I will find the answer. This loss may hurt, but I'm building the strength to come back." Every no becomes fuel. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every obstacle becomes a stepping stone. Long road? Good. That weeds out the fair weather believers. Let's face it, fear is a tyrant, a formidable opponent that sows doubt, paralysis, and self-destruction. It manifests in countless ways. The fear of failure, of being judged, of not being good enough, the fear of starting, the fear of rising, the fear of the unknown. But here's the reality. Fear lives in your head. It's not a physical beast. It's a ghost you feed with your thoughts. If left unchecked, it becomes the single most powerful force that prevents you from claiming your destiny. That's why fear must die. Fear is the mind killer. It whispers lies like, what if you fail? What if you make a fool of yourself? Better safe than sorry. And with each whisper, it erodes your spirit, dims your calling, and dims your light. But listen carefully. There's another force. Faith is the mind builder. Faith isn't fantasy. It's not wishful thinking. It's the quiet, resolute trust that no matter how fierce fear appears, your vision, your purpose, your potential is fiercer. Faith counters every lie with truth. When fear says, you can't, faith says, I can, and I will. When fear questions your worth, faith stands on the promise of your desire and the certainty of your purpose. It's not about pretending you're not afraid. It's about looking fear in the eye and saying, I hear you, but I refuse to relent. Here's how it becomes a reality. Identify your fears. Name them. Write them down. The moment you bring fear into the light, it starts losing grip. Respond with faith. For every fear you reveal, counter it with a statement of faith. I might fail, but I still believe this is worth it. Action is the antidote. Fear shrinks when you take steps forward. Every small move builds confidence, and confidence amplifies faith. Repeat daily. Faith isn't a one-time injection, it's a practice. Reaffirm your purpose, honor your actions, and watch fear wither. Think. When Eddie, son, faced failure number 1,000 but one, did he compare it to success number 1? No. He stayed faithful to his purpose until light appeared. Faith doesn't guarantee comfort. It guarantees courage. So never let fear wage war in your mind unchecked. Train your mind with faith. Let it be the architect, not fear, and step forward, always. Because faith builds your mind, it doesn't just shield it. Let me tell you something straight. Casual interest doesn't conquer. If you approach success with lukewarm enthusiasm, half-hearted attempts, or passive curiosity, your results will reflect your apathy. Success demands a burning obsession. You must want it so badly your comfort zones combust. You must crave your destiny so keenly it bleeds through your thoughts, fuels your mornings, and wakes you in the night. Obsession is not a pathology. It's a focused force. It bends minds around vision. It drives habits. Habits build character. Character births results. Here's what obsession looks like. You visualize constantly, not in half-day daydreams, but in waking moments and quiet hours. You prioritize relentlessly, cutting out what doesn't align with your vision to give full energy to what matters. You refuse to relent, not when obstacles emerge, not when critics chatter, not when you falter. Obsession is a relentless teacher. It teaches you to wake before dawn. It teaches you to sacrifice sleep for ideas. It teaches you to reject excuses and worship execution. Compare. Casual interest says, I like the idea of success. Obsession says, I cannot and will not live without it. This difference shows through your commitment. Casual interest pauses when progress stalls. Obsession doubles down. When failure speaks, interest wonders if it should quit. Obsession replies, failure is fuel, watch how I rise. Obsession is not about desperation, it's about clarity and conviction. And it's a masterful lock on your purpose that doesn't open for anything less than results. How can you inject obsession into your journey? Everything in your life right now, every result you enjoy, every struggle you endure, every success you celebrate or lack, all of it began with a single thought. Thoughts are not harmless. They are seeds. And your mind, that is the fertile soil. What you plant consistently in your mind grows, whether you mean to plant it or not. A thought entertained regularly becomes a belief. A belief becomes behavior. And that behavior leads to your destiny. If you consistently plant seeds of limitation, doubt, fear, and failure, do not be surprised when your life grows a harvest of struggle. Poverty is not just a condition of money. Poverty is a mindset. Most people think in reverse. They say, when I have money, I'll believe I'm successful. When I get the job, I'll feel valuable. When I have the proof, I'll think bigger. But the truth, as Napoleon Hill proclaimed, is that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. You must think success before you see it. You must plant wealth before you harvest it. You must speak abundance before you touch it. This is not wishful thinking. It is creative thinking. It is spiritual law. As sure as gravity pulls, your mind manifests the dominant ideas it entertains. That's why Hill emphasized the power of definiteness of purpose and autosuggestion. If you repeat daily, I am a builder of wealth, I attract abundance, I am disciplined, focused, and worthy of success, you are not lying to yourself. You are reprogramming yourself. You are planting a seed. Over time, quietly, invisibly, those seeds take root in the subconscious. They change your habits, they raise your standards, and soon your outer world reflects the internal transformation. But this law works both ways. If your self-talk is, I can't do it, I don't have what it takes, people like me never succeed, then guess what? You're right, because whatever seed you plant, the soil doesn't judge, it simply grows it. So guard your mind like a farmer guards his field. Weed out negative thoughts before they take root. Water the positive with repetition and belief, and plant only what you want to harvest. Remember, poor thinking creates poor living. Rich thinking births rich living. Every day is a planting day. What are you planting? If you study no other principle in your entire life, study this one. It is the core of Think and Grow Rich. It is the backbone of every achievement mankind has ever created. It is both a warning and a promise. You become what you think about. You do not become what you hope for. You do not become what you wish for. You become what you think about all day long. The human mind is a magnet. Whatever dominates your thoughts, you attract, you act upon, and you ultimately become. Think about success, and you begin to speak it. Speak it long enough, and you begin to feel it. Feel it often enough, and you begin to live it. But think about failure. Think about your flaws, your weaknesses, your fears, and your mind will search for ways to validate them. Your brain is always listening to you. It doesn't ask, is this thought helpful? It just says, okay, if that's what you believe, let's prove it. So if you constantly say, I'm not good enough, your mind starts scanning the world to show you evidence of how you're not. But if you say, I am capable, powerful, and worthy, your mind starts spotting opportunities, allies, and strengths you didn't even know you had. That's why consistency of thought is king. Not a burst of motivation, not a temporary high, but daily, focused, intentional thought patterns.